if you're a high school basketball player that wants to set yourself up for success, not just in basketball, but throughout your future as you move through your athletic recruiting journey, college admissions, throughout college, and even beyond in your future career, you're going to want to focus on building your own personal network. Not just a basketball network, but also a network outside of basketball. Because let's face it, your future is not just going to be based on what you know, but it's also going to be based on who you know. So today, I'm going to share 3 simple things that you can do that will help you grow your own personal network. Let's jump in and discuss. Welcome back to Hard Smart Together. I'm Coach Dave. I'm here every week to help basketball players become the smart, confident players that coaches love. So I get it. Forming, meaningful new relationships, especially with adults, is hard when you're a teenager. It's hard when you're in high school. Because, if you're anything like I was in high school, the last thing I wanted to do was have a conversation with an adult, let alone start a conversation with an adult. Okay? It was a combination for me. 1, I wasn't super confident. And 2, I didn't really see the value of developing meaningful relationships and growing a network at that point in my life in high school. I didn't see the value that it would have as I progressed through high school, college, and into my future. And I mentioned I wasn't very confident. Now, don't get me wrong. I acted confident, almost cocky, like I kind of knew it all, right? But it's like John Wooden, the famous coach, said, it's what you learn after you know it all that really counts. So I just wish back then somebody had have shared, 1, the importance of growing my network, and 2, had have shared, these 3 simple tips that could have helped me start developing these deeper relationships, both within basketball as well as outside of basketball. Because let me tell you, if I had have focused on growing my personal network back then, as I did once I became, maybe an adult, or later years right out of college, boy, it would have made a tremendous impact on my basketball career, my athletic career. It would have made a tremendous impact on my academic career. It would have made an impact on the future direction that I took after college. It would have made an impact on my career. It would have made a huge impact in so many aspects of my life, and I just didn't get it. So here I am, going to share them with you today. Hopefully, if you are a high school basketball player, these are 3, really simple steps that you can start getting comfortable with in order to grow your network. Now, before I get into those 3 steps, I always like to give you a little bonus just for listening today. So if you haven't already downloaded the 8 intangible skills that coaches love to see in players, and some of these skills will really apply to growing this network I talked about, so you should download it. I'll put a link in the description below, or you can simply go to hardsmarttogether.com/intangibles, and I'll be sure to get you that checklist of those skills and a little bit of how you can work on them. So, 3 things that you can do immediately, and it's going to take, if you're not one of those teenagers that's really comfortable in talking to adults or comfortable, making new relationships, this is going to take some getting used to. So I want you to start small and get more comfortable to it. But the first thing you can do is get used to introducing yourself. Get used to introducing yourself to new people, okay? And if you don't feel comfortable necessarily jumping right into, I'm just going to introduce myself to somebody I don't know, look at people you're already connected to that are already part of your network. Family, coaches, teachers, friends, people that you already have a meaningful relationship with, and ask them to make an introduction to someone they know. Okay, but get used to expanding the people you know and developing these meaningful relationships. Now, my background, you might not know about me, is for the majority of my career, although I was a longtime coach and, have done things in the athletic world, I also had a big chunk of my career was in high technology, software sales and marketing. Okay, so networks were really important to me in that business. So I got really used to, if you're familiar with kind of the professional social network, which is LinkedIn, even today, if there is somebody that I want to meet, or if there's a company I want to research, or if there's a college that I want to research, or I want to learn more about a basketball program, or I want to learn more about something and I need an introduction, the first thing I do is look on LinkedIn. Well, I've got this big giant LinkedIn network, right? I've got, tons and tons of contacts. And some of these relationships are really close relationships, and some of them are not as much, but maybe we had interactions in the past. But I don't just look at who I know. I look at who do I know that knows somebody maybe at that college or in that company, or that has done that before or holds that role, or whatever the case might be. So networking and building my network was really important in my professional life, but you don't have to do it as organized as like LinkedIn, although I recommend the younger you can be to have a LinkedIn profile, the better. But I'm just talking about just taking kind of a snapshot of who you know and who they might know, because maybe it's a college you want to look into. Maybe it's a basketball program that you want to look into. Maybe it's an AAU program. Maybe it's, a certain line of study. It doesn't matter what it is. Your network is so critically important. So I want you to get used to introducing yourself and sharing a little bit about yourself and maybe your vision for yourself. What are some of your goals? What are you looking to do? What are you doing currently? Sharing about who you are is really important on making introductions. So that's the first. Get used to introducing yourself or getting introduced to new people. The second thing is, once you're introduced to somebody new, I want you to look for common ground, okay? And what do I mean by that? I want you to get used to asking questions to find some commonality with that person, because meaningful relationships that you can add to your network come from relating to people. And people feel much more comfortable when they can relate to each other. And let me tell you something, you'll find something to relate to, okay? It might be a common interest. It might be a common background. It might be a common, path that you guys have taken. Whatever the case is, interest, experiences that you've had, okay? So, and this is really simple to ask questions. It can be as simple as, so, what did you do over the summer, right? Oh, I went, this person might say, oh, I took my family on a trip and, we went to Yosemite. Really? My family used to go to Yosemite, right? It might be, it can be anything. Just get used to asking simple questions about people. They like to be, have you interested in them, but what you're really looking for is some common ground so that you can start your relationship from some common places, and you'll feel more comfortable once you start relating to people in that manner and get used to asking those questions. So that's number 2. The third thing I want you to get used to doing, it might be kind of foreign for you, and this was one I struggled with. I still struggle with this sometimes, okay? Even today, as an adult. But I definitely struggled with it in high school. And I definitely struggled with it throughout my basketball playing career and throughout my college career and even throughout my professional career. It's just one of my weak spots that I have to always work on. And that is, I want you to get comfortable with asking people for help. Okay? First of all, people love when you ask them to help. Okay? It's a little trick I do. One place I always ask for help is when I'm talking to a customer service rep, like on the phone. People love it when one of my statements I love to, maybe you could help me out. People love it when they feel important, like, oh, they're asking me personally for help, right? I kind of settle that whole adversarial relationship with a customer service rep immediately by asking them for help, right? And all of a sudden they're like, well, how can I help you, right? So you can use it in different aspects, but I want you to get used to asking people for help in ways, I mentioned it on introducing yourself. Maybe getting used to asking people for introductions. Hey, I know you've worked with this AAU program before. Could you make me an introduction to the coach? Hey, I saw that you work at this school or that you went to this college. Could you introduce me to the admissions folks or maybe some of the teachers? Or, it doesn't matter what it is, but get used to asking for help in that way. Also, maybe it's simply as asking a coach once you meet them and find some common, could you share some of your drills with me? I'm looking for some drills to work on as an individual. Could you work me out? Maybe you could help me out. Would you mind spending a half an hour and showing me some drills and doing a shooting workout with me? Get used to asking for help. Maybe, I love this one as well. Can you give me a little advice? You have the career that I'm looking to be in someday. If you were me today in high school, what steps would you take? Okay? Oh, you played college basketball. If you were me today, I'm a sophomore. I'm hoping to make varsity, trying to get some playing time. If you were me today, where would you focus your time? How would you set yourself up for success? So get used to asking for help. So those are the 3 things that you can do and start getting used to in order to grow your own personal network at a really young age. And let me tell you, you start today while you're in high school, and it's going to make all the difference, yes, in your basketball career. I know this is a basketball career channel, right? But yes, it's going to make a difference there, but it's going to make a difference in your academic career, in maybe your future career. In your entire life, it can make such a difference. So I want you to get used to introducing yourself or asking for introductions. I want you to get used to asking questions of people where you can find some common ground and relate to them better. And then I want you to get used to asking, yes, adults, for help. Ask for a little bit of help where you might need it. Advice, help, whatever the case might be. That's your tips for today. Hopefully this is an episode that will really help you as you go forward in your future. And if it is, be sure and give me a like, give me a comment below and say, yep, I'm going to start trying those 3 things. And until next week, remember to play hard, play smart, and play together. See you next week.